Welcome to Subramani. We are in this Dasera Diwali time, which is a festive time, which is also the time for, I think it's time to do a lot of charity too. As a financial advisor, can you really do too much of charity, and how will you do charity? Okay, I'm not asking you to do charity in terms of money. That is completely up to you. I don't grudge anybody with how much charity they should do. But my question is, can you do charity in terms of your services? What can you do in terms of services? Okay, let me address two sets of IFAs. Those who are in their 60s or late 50s and 60s. What you can do is go around asking people in your family, people who are say 70 plus, 75, telling them, are you ready for giving away the financial management of your portfolio to somebody younger? Say you have a cousin who's got no children, or you've got a cousin whose children are abroad and they're very unlikely that they will come and live back in India. So somebody has to be managing their money while they are unable to manage. So this man, suppose he's 75 years of age now or 76 years of age now, and he's got a reasonably complicated portfolio. The question is, who is going to handle that portfolio if he is not capable of doing it, and when will he decide that he is not capable of doing it? Largely men have a huge ego problem. They will not giving up managing their money to somebody else because they think they can do it, and they make a mess of it. I know a lot of senior citizens who have made a mess of it. I know people who would do some thousands of things and terribly underperform the PPF or even the bank deposit, or definitely underperform the index. But it does not stop them from chasing alpha even at 80, even though you give them all the empirical evidence that they have not done so in the past 50-60 years. It does not stop them, right? So these are difficult questions to answer. How much of how should the asset allocation be? And there would be some men who would have very complicated portfolios, perfectly capable of handling it. However, their spouses may not be interested. I know such cases where the spouse asks me, is it necessary for me to do all this? And I tell them, no, all you need is an annuity and fixed deposits, because you have enough money. Pay a little bit of tax. Don't get into trying to save tax and all that. Does not matter, because at an older age, what you want is simplicity. So there are women who tell me, the minute my husband dies, if he were to die before me, I would just sell off everything and put it into bank deposits or annuity. Makes sense. So go around the house. If you are in your 60s, there's a good chance that your parents are in your 80s and are in their 80s, and they may not have made enough arrangement on how to manage the money. If you are siblings, ask the other siblings whether any of them is ever going to take charge. A person staying in the same city makes more sense, right? So mechanize everything. Make sure that your parents' telephone bills, electricity bills are all automated so that they just go away smoothly. Make sure that their investments are made in a simple way. Make sure that their will is made. If they have a real estate, a will is very important. So yes, forcing them to make a will is slightly difficult, but because it's a little touchy topic. But yes, but other things, how do you go about doing this? How do you convince them? I think it's very simple. If you're 60 years of age, you yourself need somebody to, as a sounding board, somebody younger to be able to manage your money in case you are not there, in case your children are not interested. So start looking for somebody and ask your parents for ideas. I am thinking of putting this nephew, I'm thinking of putting this niece, because maybe sometimes their intuition is better and they'll be able to tell you whom to give and whom not to give the mandate, right? So when those kind of things happen, you at least your parents start asking, why are you doing all this? And you say, look, life is not very certain. I'm 60 years of age, I need to do this. What happens when you're 30 years of age? When you're 30 years of age, good chance that your grandparents are there and your parents are there. Then it's nice to initiate the discussion and say, I was taught all this while doing my CA or CFP or CFA. It doesn't really matter. Or saying, our HR organized a class in which Subra came and spoke about these kind of things. Anything, doesn't matter. Or you just saw this video, that's perfectly all right, right? Tell them something when start the conversation, because these conversations are not very easy to do. And there will always be somebody in the family who needs support. So suppose you're 60 years of age and 60 or 65 years of age and you're looking to do charity around the country or around the world. First start looking within your house. There might be your mother's second cousin, your father's second cousin, somebody who is desperately crying out for financial help and financial management help. So you have found your next charitable cause. Why can't you say, okay, I will send you 8,000 rupees a month and I'll get 3 of my other cousins to send you 8,000. So you have 25,000 rupees in which you can live. I have done these things in the past, that I have organized families which didn't even know that within the family there was need for charity. Don't call it charity, it doesn't look very good, but you can look for help. You can say, hello uncle, I'm upgrading my TV, can I give you my old TV? Maybe it's your TV is 1 year old, doesn't matter. But when you say, I'm buying you a TV, some people may not find it very pleasant. Or you say, oh, I'm upgrading my laptop. Would you want a laptop? Your conventional desktop looks too old. And I will get nothing for my old laptop. Maybe I'll get only 1,000 rupees. Maybe your laptop is just 1 year old or 2 years old. Just give it off. These kind of charitable giving, Diwali is a good time to think about who in your house or near your house or your friends, parents, or your uncle, aunt, or your own parents, have they managed their finances well? Have they found who will handle it in case they are not around, right? What happens if the husband is bedridden and the wife dies? Who is going to look after it? Is there a power of attorney available? Is there a because a nominee doesn't help. Even if you are the nominee, it doesn't help. You cannot touch that money if the old man is alive and the wife is dead. You can't do it. It's now in single name and the other person can't even sign. But you can't touch the money. You cannot access that money for your own, for his own medical treatment, right? So make sure that the documentation is right. So start with your parents, start with your uncle, start with your neighbor, start with your dad's friends, anybody who you think. Ask your parents, do you think there is anybody who needs? Then they will ask you, why are you asking this? Then the whole conversation will develop. Have they given in writing what should happen to them? Should there be, how much is the money that should be spent on their medical treatment? I have a friend whose parents have said not more than 10 lakhs each. If it is more than 10 lakhs, just pull the plug. They have said it in writing. So tomorrow when a doctor asks, they say, look, I am not allowed to spend beyond 10 lakhs and 10 lakhs is over, right? I do not know how much this will hold in the court of law, but having it in writing helps. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. So keep that in writing. Will documentation, name documentation, make sure that the will, if it needs to be updated, that is done. Do all this free during Diwali, and I'm not even saying use this as a client acquisition tool, because the kind of people you are addressing may not have great potential, but whatever, if you get business from it, great, but at least as a Diwali gift, I think this is the best thing you can do for senior citizens near you, around you, near your society, right? It's not that they can't afford, but they can't think of paying for these things. Of course, they all have money. Many of them have big pensions. I have friends whose parents have pensions in the region of 1.25 lakhs, and their expenses are not more than 10,000 rupees, because they're not paying for food, they're not paying for rent, so maybe some medicines and gifts, and so they have tremendous ability to pay. Will they pay for such services? That is the question, and the answer is many of them will not. If there are people who are just in their 70s, ask them where are they going to live in their old age? Where are they going to live from 70 to 85, and after 85, where are they going to live? Have they made those arrangements? So you can create a checklist of things that you want to do, what you want to ask, make that checklist, email it, phone it, WhatsApp, talk to people, get the details, and based on that you can create your action plan of what to do during the year, throughout the year as CSR. This is going to be your CSR. Every company does its own CSR, right? So if it's a manufacturer of taps, they say, okay, we will give away taps. If they are a manufacturer of software, educational software, they give it free to some tribal schools, etc. That's how they do their CSR. So as an IFA or an RIA, your CSR should be helping people around you, maybe people who can't afford your fees. So start with senior citizens, not because they can't afford, but they are not accustomed to paying for such services. Thank you.